beginning. We got a big pile of steel. You know what that means.
Oh boy!
Oh, oh yes, oh boy. Here's the progress on this thing. This will be our model. It's looking good. That's pretty bad. I just sprayed some WD-40 in there, so that's why it's wet. But yeah, we're gonna clean all of that carbon up, see if we can get those pistons nice and shiny like the 1000 that we did. And I'm gonna try to not take too much of this engine apart. I'm definitely gonna drain the oil, take the oil pan out, and do the same power washing deal that I did. And we're just gonna flush as much crappy oil through it, see if we can get all of this water out. But I mean, this thing is freaking gross. Has at least 30,000 miles on it. It's got to be done. It needs the hot power washer. back looks really good. Super happy. I have it up on the jack right now, so the swing arm's all the way out. And I've got the one shock in there, and it almost comes all the way up to where I can span a bar across the bottom, but that would that would be okay. I'm gonna build a piece of tube that connects the two, and then we're gonna connect this, the suspension, the rear, and then do some out to the side action. So I've got one going there. This has got to get connected. So I think just a bunch of small tubes boxing this whole thing in, as opposed to just one here for the suspension, you know, tying it into the engine cradle and the rear. Woo, I'm out of breath. Just got done moving the buggy by hand from the other garage bay where we fitted a floor. So Mark of M&B Welding kindly lent me the plasma cutter. I've recently made a dongle to not only power my Miller 215 via the 240 plug. We were running it off of 120. So now we can also run big heavy duty things like the plasma cutter. So that's going into, unfortunately, the exact same plug as my air compressor. So plasma cutting is limited to 60 gallons of air. So it was just enough to cut about, I don't know, 7 feet, 6 feet, something like that. Looks good though. That thing makes life so easy. We've got an awesome looking floor pan. I definitely have to do some more welding. Mark said just to sand it around the edges and then get sledgehammer, bang on it and wrap it up against my pole and then go and weld some spots on the outside. But all in all, looks pretty good. It's been gorgeous out, so I've been trying to do the inside-outside work as much as possible before I shut myself up in the shop. It's gonna snow. Great. Goes all my plants. It's gonna snow here in the next 2 days, so plan on putting the engine back together, because right now I just have the block with the cylinder head off just sitting in here so I could fit up the rear end. I feel like I did a pretty good job for my first time trying to do something like this. You can definitely tell I got a few of the angles wrong. The main engine support is off slightly, but then the engine is offset 1 degree this way. So 1 degree in either direction, everything's pretty darn straight. The chain is straight. Most importantly, the rear swing arm is very level and straight with the rest of the frame. So at the end of the day, that's pretty much what matters. The suspension, kind of the same story. I have a 2-shock mount in there. I have no idea how heavy this thing is actually going to be, or the capacity of this bike shock, since it is a bike shock. I mean, I looked up the specs. I know how heavy the bike is. This is the one out of the 1000. So definitely a bit heavier, bit beefier than the one from the 750. But my mount can definitely put both of them in there. So if we, say for example, have 2 riders and it's really squatting, no problem just to throw a second one in there. I measured it the other night and it like barely fits inside of the horse trailer. That's why I've squunched mine down so much from what Mark made. Mark really made something long. It actually looks kind of funny. That top section, we should definitely expand that a little bit next time and maybe expand the front out. I'm not exactly sure. We'll see how it looks when it's done. But that's my side profile.
that's just a little bit. Anyways, so Andy thinks this is an optional pedal setup because you can unbolt, what, 9 bolts?
It's 6, come on.
Sit with a high pressure impact drill.
Yep.
And shove it like that, and then rebolt. Oh, we're stuck.
Movable pedal setup. Might need a wobbly to get onto that one. We're a little close to the brakes, but this is a prototype for movable pedals. So now, Kelly, put your feet down there. And the steering wheel comes out.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Did you do steering backwards? This is the greatest brain exercise for the end of a long day in the garage. Now steer backwards. Nope, the other way.
Oh, that's funny.
Come on, Bessie.
Oh, for f***'s sake. Who's done this?